What's up, you guys, and welcome back to the channel. So for today's video, we are doing like this beautiful, flawless, matte influencer type makeup. If you know, you know, like the influencers that just have this very just matte and like blurred and perfectly bright under eyes, giving like very much rapper's girlfriend, like, you know what I'm talking about, IG models. Okay, I'm using my favorite primer. Oh, all right, the Refi one. It's so bomb. You guys have to try it. I think using this primer is also fun because of the applicator, of course. I just have a great time. And actually, I was shaking it, and there's a lot of product, and I don't even use much of it. So I feel like that's a primer that you can use for a while, and you won't run out, or at least too quickly. I'm gonna go ahead and set my T-zone with some setting powder. I'm using the one from Huda Beauty, as I've done in the last few videos. I really enjoy this method because I feel like it really does help with blurring the pores, those fine lines under the eyes. And if you just use a little bit, it won't disturb the creams that you use. Moving on to color correcting. I'm gonna be using the matchsticks from Fenty Beauty. This is the shade Peach, and I'm just taking care of little areas that I need to take care of because the goal is to have like this super flawless and like heavy, just like it looks heavy glam, but not really, because we're only using product where we need it, which is the most important. And I feel like that's how it looks so beautiful in person and on camera, is when you're using product where you need it versus just all over. And I mean, you can, granted, I still love the putting foundation all over the skin as well, but like with other things like your color corrector, cream contour, everything, like everything has a place for it, and it's more like targeted, like, I think there's a word for it, something like targeted like product or something like that. Just put it where you need it, girl. That's all I'm trying to say. Moving on to contouring, I'm using another matchstick. This is in Swedish, of course, from Fenty Beauty, and I'm just taking care of, okay, this face, it needs to be sculpted. We're going glam, we're going influencer, so we need lots of bronze, lots of sculpt, okay? And I love this shade because it's kind of a play in between like a cooler and warm shade, so I get a little bit of like bronze and contour in one. And I love how these blend out. I actually used to not like these. When they first came out, I got them and I just did not like them, and I never really, I just didn't care for them. And then when I actually was working for Fenty Skin, and I guess Fenty Beauty, I was working with them a little bit, they sent me some more, and I don't know if they changed the formula, but they are one of my favorite like things to use, especially for contouring, and obviously like the color corrector. I really love them. Moving on to concealer, I'm going to be using the one from Makeup Forever. Again, I'm going to list everything down below because I don't have all the shades and everything right in front of me, so definitely check the description below for all of that good stuff. Of course, highlighting the face, the chin, the bridge of the nose, the forehead, and then the under eyes. And you guys know how I am about the under eyes now. I finally understand the concept. I finally understand the technique and why it's so important. So if you really want a snatched face, you're going to go ahead and keep your concealer right underneath the eye. You can definitely drag it down the sides of the nose like I'm doing, because it helps to kind of shape the nose and do that reverse contouring. But you want to keep most of the concealer underneath the eye, and if you drag it out, you can do that, but you don't want to drag it down, right? You don't want to drag it to the center of your face because it's going to pull your face down. And usually, at least right now, the trend is to have like a lifted and snatched face, and I really like that look. And yeah, like, so I just keep everything centered, and I really love this technique. I finally understood it, so I'm glad about that. And also with this technique and how I do it with my powder underneath the concealer is I make sure that I use my brush and I'm pressing the concealer into the skin versus just pulling it and dragging it. I mean, you obviously you do it to an extent, but you really just want to press it in and then go in with your beauty blender. And I use a dry one and I just press it in. Moving on to cream blush. This is from Jouer. I think this is their rose shade, and I love this color so much. I feel like people are kind of asleep on Jouer. Like, they have some bomb stuff, especially their blushes, and I like their blush and bronzer duo, which you guys will see shortly. But it blends out beautifully, and it just has the perfect amount of pigment. Like, my Rare Beauty one, love her, but girl, she do too much. Moving on to my powder foundation, you guys already know what it is. I'm going to take the lighter shade that I have, and I'm going to set the under eyes, of course, because I want to keep that bright and, lifted. And then I'm going to take a deeper shade and go on the rest of my face and kind of just press that in. I will say that I do feel like the shade that I'm using is a little light. So I do have another shade that's darker. And initially looking at it, I would feel like it was too dark, but I'm not sure if it's just because of the formula difference, but like the shade does look a lot darker. But I'm gonna go ahead and try it because although I loved everything about this look, and it wasn't too off kilter, like it didn't look too bad, but I felt like it was just a little lighter. Like I could go a hair darker. So I'm gonna try the other shade. I'm gonna move on to baking underneath the eyes. Now I know this seems scary because we're using a lot of powder, but I actually, you know, bake under the eye for like a second. Like I just put it underneath my eye and then I'm instantly brushing it off because we are using a lot of powder, but I want to keep it like bright underneath the eye. So this is an important step for me. And I think it also helps set the actual powder foundation in place because you have to think about it. Once you go throughout the day, the powders are going to marry into the skin, right? They're going to kind of melt into the skin as they should. So I want to make sure that to keep that matte finish, I'm using a little bit more powder for this type of technique. I'm moving on to that blush and bronzer duo that I was sharing with you guys. And look at that blush. That blush is crazy. And I actually love I thought the bronzer was gonna be too light, but I feel like maybe it is too light, just my foundation was so damn light. But anyway, the bronzer was great, the blush is bomb. So like, don't sleep on Jouer. If you guys wanna, I don't know, get into some more blushes, you're just on the look for, like, maybe check them out. They have some good stuff, and of course I'm gonna link everything down below. And moving on to eyeshadow, I'm using this Natasha Denona palette. I'm going to list the shade names down below as well because I don't remember them off the top of my head and I don't have the palette in front of me, but I'm just using a light warm shade, obviously, just to kind of start the whole shabam out, okay, hitting my crease. And then I'm going to go into a gray shade that's in the palette. It's the only one there. And my goal is to kind of just like cut the crease without cutting it, right? And give it depth and like just a little bit more like shape to the eye. I'm taking that brown shade on the lash line and I'm gonna blow it out and blend it back into the crease, if that makes any sense. If it doesn't make sense on how I'm explaining it, just keep watching. And then I'm going on top of that with the gray. So I'm getting this like cool tone brown, if you will, instead of just like this warm brown. I am then adding some of the darker black shade onto my lash line, excuse me. And then I'm gonna be adding the gray on top of that to further smoke it out because I don't want it to be harsh. I just want everything to be smoked out and blended, but still have structure because we kind of created the illusion of this cut crease without using like a primer concealer. We're just kind of using our shadows to do so. And I'm taking the lightest shade in that palette and just like pressing that in the inner corner. And I'm only keeping it in the inner corner. I don't want to bring it onto the whole entire lid, just in the inner corner to emphasize the cut crease at that part, if that makes any sense. And then I'm taking those shades that I used in the crease and just bring it down on the lash line, but keeping it tight. I'm not really blending it all the way down, just keeping it right underneath the lashes. And I'm gonna go ahead and apply some mascara. I do my lashes and brows off camera. I think my camera died and typically, obviously, I'm doing voiceovers because trying to talk when my son is home is a challenge. Even this voiceover is a challenge. I don't know what he's doing, but he's running around. So I hope you guys don't hear his little show and everything in the background. Moving on to lips, I'm using the Makeup Forever Total Taupe, okay, Artist Color Pencil. It is so bomb. Oh, by the way, I was looking off so many times because I'm watching Shadow and Bone. It is so good. Season 2, I need to read the books, but season 2, at least for someone who hasn't read the books, it's so good. I'm using this Patrick Child liquid lipstick and then this Jaclyn Hill one, and yeah, just this beautiful nude. Been kind of into matte lip lately, you guys. Like, I don't know what it is. I typically have been a gloss girl for I don't know how long, but I'm liking just plain old matte lips. And as you can see, the makeup looks so bomb, but I gotta take care of this hair. I gotta take care of this hair. This hair looks crazy. And now the hair is done. Okay, I did a little side part. I'm a side part girl now. I feel like an influencer. If you try to be an influencer, you need to do a side part. Okay. I hope you guys enjoyed this makeup look. I thought it was beautiful. Of course, I did it. Hello, I love it. And my skin looks amazing. Like everything looks like, girl, look at the close up. Look at the shot. It's just bomb. So if you guys do this makeup look, let me know. Make sure you guys like, comment, and of course subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.